Welcome, everybody. This is day 26. We're so close to the end. The Seance at the Whitney. The presence of your company is requested at a convening of spirits. And this is going to get crazy because why wouldn't it at this point in the month? Here's our schedule. You guys know this by now. I make no promises, but I make every attempt. We'll see. The Seance at the Whitney is an interactive indie author virtual book festival featuring author readings, interactive improv mystery game, and book giveaways every single night. If you don't know these authors, you really need to. That's why I'm doing this, because you guys need to know all these amazing human beings and the great stories that they write. So check them out wherever you find your local bookstores. And if you don't want to buy it at a bookstore for whatever reason, go to your library and ask your librarian to shelve these authors. That would be tremendous payback for this month of lunacy. Tonight, our readings will be Jacob Bullen is going to be reading from Intimations of Death, one of my favorite books. And Melinda Fago is going to be previewing a brand new book, The Mummy's Tomb. Super, super fun. I love it when people bring their brand new books, because then my TBR just so much fun. So, Jacob, if you are ready, please, can you hold up your book cover so that we can see it? There you go. Intimations of Death. When you're ready, sir, please take the microphone and read aloud.
Just through here, Margaret sighed, gesturing towards the door. Just let us know when you are ready to leave, dears. She smiled and then left us alone in front of the door labeled Abraham Lux. Do you want me to go in with you? Desiree asked, gently squeezing my hand. I shook my head. No, I have to do this myself. I pulled my hand away and reached for the doorknob. Drawing a deep breath, I opened the door and stepped inside. Is that you, Molly? The man across the room from me now scarcely resembled the man I remembered. He wore his own clothes, but it was clear that his mind had not stayed with them. I told them you'd come, he smiled as he played with little figures he kept on the table at his side. Did you bring David and Livy, love? Tears poured from my eyes as I stared at the man I'd been too afraid and angry to visit for 5 long years. No, Daddy, it's just me, Olivia. The man turned his head to face me, his eyes wide as he took in the sight of his daughter. Livy, love? He whispered, looking me over from head to toe. You've grown, he added, his right hand hovering a few feet above the ground. I laughed. Daddy, I've been taller than that for a long time now. He looked at his own hand in confusion. Scrunching his brow, he nodded his head repetitiously, as though his neck were stuck in that motion. You're right, he grunted. He stood and came within arm's reach of me, but didn't close the distance. He looked as though some invisible barrier separated us. May I? He stuttered. May I hold you? His eyes seemed so innocent, so longing. Of course, Daddy, I smiled, stepping into a hug with the man. Closing my eyes, 5 years worth of tears poured from them. I felt my father's tears on my shoulder as well. Several minutes went by, and still we held one another. Livy, the man's tone changed slightly. Do you see them too? I tipped back lightly without breaking the embrace. What do you mean, Daddy? Are you gifted, like your mother? She saw them, the reapers. No, Daddy, I stepped back once more. My father holding my hands at arm's length, I shook my head again. It's all still there, Livy. Everything. The truth. He raised his voice, recalling some dark torment from his past. The truth, Livy, about what happened. You need to finish what we started, Molly and me. His eyes grew wide with fear as he turned away, suddenly realizing he was not at home. Where are we? He asked. The door burst open, and 2 attendants came into the room. Des stood within the door with a third, urging her to stay put. I am sorry, Miss Lux, a kind-faced yet formidable-looking woman said. You don't want to be here. Abe thrashed about in a panicked state, unable to understand what was happening. Daddy, my voice cracked, my bottom lip trembled. This happens sometimes, they said calmly, keeping an eye on her peer. Please, you shouldn't see this. Livy, my father shouted, his eyes sane. Finish what we started. You have to. You're the only one that can. The cabin. The truth is there. He maintained his gaze upon me as I was pressed from the room. Livy, Desiree leapt to my side. Are you all right? No, I answered, sobbing into my friend's shoulder. Gently, she pat my head as a new sensation filled the gaping hole where only grief and fear had resided. Dad said the truth was there, the place we were headed 5 years ago. My mind gripped my father's words, and I steeled myself. It's time to go to the cabin. Do you want me to drive? Des asked. No, you worked last night. Get some sleep on the way. I know how to get there. Saturday, 1650. The long, winding road had not changed since my last visit. I smiled, remembering my mother and father taking turns teaching David and me how to drive on these roads, traveling between the house and the cabin. Des slept soundly in the back seat, her light snores easily drowned out by the radio. Taking in the scenery, I continued down memory lane. Then, as I glanced briefly at the black clouds rolling in, a set of flashing lights and a siren caught my attention. What happened? Des asked sleepily as she sat upright. I'm not sure, I answered, looking at my speedometer before slowing and pulling to the shoulder of the high road. Then, turning off my engine, I looked in the rearview mirror and saw Officer Rolfe stepping out of his vehicle. Good afternoon, Garrett, I said, hands on my wheel as I peeked my head out to see him and smiled. Looks like the weather might turn a bit rough, I added, noticing the storm clouds in the distance. Hi, Olivia, he smirked, approaching the vehicle. He saw Desiree trying to fix her bedhead. Afternoon, Des. Hi, Officer Rolfe, she smiled. So what's up, Garrett? I asked, drawing his attention back to me. Do I have a light out? No, I'm sorry about that, Olivia. Captain asked me to check up on you. He said you didn't check in this morning. Crap, I grumbled, eyeing the cell phone on the seat next to me. It's been a long day. I just forgot. I spoke to Dr. Arment early this morning. Is he that worried about me? I teased. I'll make sure to call the captain before I head back out. I understand. Heard you went to visit old Abe. How is he? Probably have to see if I can peek in on him on the way back. I don't make it out this way much unless Captain needs something. I did. Listen, Garrett, Dad's not his usual self. Just be careful, all right? Nodding his head, Officer Garrett looked down the winding road and over the lush green woods towards our destination. You kids headed to the cabin? Yeah, crappy service out here. I'll try to call the captain once we get in. All right, Olivia, Des, you two take care now. I worry about you sometimes. As Garrett walked away with his telltale limp, I watched to make sure he got to his vehicle. As he did so, a flash of movement caught my attention. What the? I leaned out the window. Des was peering in her makeup mirror, paying little attention. It happened too quickly for me to comprehend. As Officer Garrett prepared to pull ahead and turn around at the wide shoulder, a tall creature with gangly limbs dressed in a black pinstripe suit charged from higher up the hill. Garrett turned just as it leapt on the hood. Reaching back, it pulled out two large knives from its back and shoved its hands forward through the front window. Garrett, I called, reaching for my gun in the glove compartment. I turned with my pistol as Des snapped to attention. What's going? She began as the squad car rear-ended us, forcing me into the steering wheel, jarring my keys from the ignition. Dropping my pistol, I scrambled to regain control of the vehicle, pulling the parking brakes. I attempted to reach my keys down by my feet. Officer Garrett's car continued to push, spinning the vehicle sideways. The monster on top of his vehicle slid from the front and moved toward the door. Inside was the bloodied blur of Garrett, who was now quite dead, his foot still on the accelerator. Des, we have to get out, I yelled, just as the parking brake gave out, and we were pushed from the side of the road, crashing down towards the woods several yards below. As tree branches clipped the windows and hood of the car, glass sprayed in on me. Shielding my face to the best of my ability, I winced with every nick and cut. My head forced forward into the deflated airbag. I bounced off the steering wheel and struck the side of my head, blacking out. That's where I'll stop.
Thank you very, very much. Yay! You guys got to read this book because there's more cliffhanger stuff like that to come. Super surprises. It's a really fun book. You guys are really going to enjoy it. Thank you for your reading, Jacob. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to show you this. Here it is, you guys. Never before seen on a screen. Yes, it's Melinda's new book, The Mummy's Tomb. This is a brand new book. Melinda, I am super excited about this. I am so excited about this. Let me know if you need me to do that other thing.
Okay.
And when you are ready, please take the microphone and read aloud.
My Gen Xers will should recognize this format somewhat.
Dear
reader, warning, danger and adventure beyond this point. possibly death. If you dare turn one more page, you will be placing yourself in mortal peril. Only the smartest kids can successfully navigate the dangers lurking on every single page of the book. There are impossible puzzles, unsolvable riddles, and perilous decisions to be made every step of the way. Use your wits and maybe a few of the important historical facts you pick up along your journey, and you might, just might, stand a chance of surviving. But consider yourself duly warned. One wrong move, and you won't only learn a few things about history, you'll be history. Can you escape the mummy's tomb?
They're gonna put us in a grave?
Your best friend Scooter squeaks as he reviews the class trip itinerary. Tomb, actually, you reply. Graves are really just holes in the ground. Tombs are more like vaults. You attempt to look out the airplane window, past the large man sleeping in the seat next to you, being careful not to wake him. Something about the deep crease between his dark, bushy eyebrows and the long, rippling scar arcing across his cheek gives him a sinister look, even though he hasn't been awake since your class boarded the plane. You notice a book clutched tightly in his beefy hand, a guide to Egypt, and chuckle to yourself. He's just a tourist. You lean forward, craning your neck. The seatbelt buckle bites into your belly, reminding you the captain still has the fasten your seatbelt sign illuminated. You ponder, just for a moment, whether to ignore the sign when Scooter's complaining distracts you.
Grave, tomb, who cares? They both have dead people in them.
Unlike Scooter, you've been looking forward to your class trip to Egypt for quite some time. Ever since your father took you to the Tutankhamun exhibit at the local museum, you've wanted nothing more than to visit Egypt to see the pyramids, the Great Sphinx, and the mysterious Tomb of the Pharaohs in the Valley of the Kings. Now, after 11 hours cramped in economy class with stale peanuts and the rattling snores of the passenger beside you, you manage to catch your first glimpse of the Great Pyramid at Giza through the window. Funny, but from up here, the first wonder of the ancient world looks pretty puny. Oh well, who knows? Maybe you'll discover your own lost tomb, just like Howard Carter, the archaeologist who unearthed the tomb of King Tut, the boy king. There are still many tombs that have not been found, hiding with their treasures somewhere beneath the hot sands. Of course, there was always the curse. A mysterious curse was supposedly inscribed upon King Tut's tomb, a curse that predicted the untimely demise of anyone who dared disturb the sleeping pharaoh. Death will come on swift pinions to those who disturb the rest of the pharaoh. You aren't quite sure what opinion is, but it doesn't sound good. As many as 20 people, including Howard Carter himself, were rumored to have died because they dared enter the pharaoh's tomb. Many other tombs discovered throughout Egypt had similar warnings. Sure, like some old crusty mummy was going to rise from the dead and cover you. Probably just something your teacher made up to scare you into staying with the school group. Right? A bitter chill ripples down your spine. You shake off the eerie feeling. Mummies, you correct Scooter.
Huh?
Scooter says. In the tombs. Not just dead people, mummies. The ancient Egyptians mummified the dead. You hold your arms out stiffly in front of you and make eerie groaning sounds. Scooter rolls his eyes. Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Ah, come on, Scooter. You give him a playful punch in the arm. Think of all the cool things we might see. The pyramids of ancient Egypt were built mostly as tombs for royalty, you know, pharaohs and their families. And they were buried with all their worldly possessions, even their pets.
Oh, great. That's just what I always wanted. A gerbil mummy coming after me.
You giggle. The Egyptians believed they would need it all in the afterlife, and pharaohs were kings. think of all the treasure. As the word treasure tumbles from your lips, the dark-haired man next to you snorts awake. The guidebook he's been clutching tumbles to the floor. He reaches for it, but his fingers waggle just shy of the upside-down book. You start to pick it up for him, but pause as his dark eyes flash angrily. And here's where it becomes interactive, folks. If the sinister man angry look frightens you and you decide to leave the book alone, raise your hand now, please. Anyone? Okay. If you dismiss the man's angry look and pick up the book anyway, raise your hand. Okay. You reach down to pick up the guidebook. As you do, you think you see something flutter from between the pages. But before you can check it out, the flight attendant comes down the aisle.
Excuse me, gentlemen, but we are about to begin our descent to Cairo. We've been instructed to prepare the cabin for landing.
She offers a bright smile. Fantastic, you reply, casting a cautious look at the man beside you. As she moves away, you turn toward the man. He rips the book from your outstretched hands and mumbles a word in gruff, modern Arabic. Shukran.
What did he say?
Scooter's raspy whisper in your ear makes you jump.
Have a nice day.
You shrug. You watch the man slip the guidebook into the pocket of his jacket. Why on earth was he so angry? You only picked the book up to be helpful. What could be so important about a dumb tourist guide anyway? As the questions tumble around in your head, the plane bumps to a landing and taxis to the gate. The moment the seatbelt dims, the man jumps up and pushes past you, smushing you and Scooter into your seats. I'm sure glad he's gone, Scooter exhales as the man disappears down the aisle. You totally agree, letting loose your own sigh of relief. Still, as you stand to collect your things, you continue to wonder about the book. Hey, what's this? Scooter says, picking up a folded piece of paper from the aisle. You remember seeing something flutter from between the pages of the sinister man's guidebook. You reach and take the folded scrap from Scooter's hand. You unfold it, Madam Storyteller. The Metropolitan Observer. American Antiquities professor vanished. Eccentric adventurer claimed knowledge of Queen Nefertiti's tomb by Solomon Dish. The famed Egyptologist, Professor Alastair Blunderbuss, has vanished somewhere in the Valley of the Kings. Blunderbuss, known to fellow members of the World Association of Egyptologists as a bit of an eccentric, often keeping notes and codes and riddles, recently boasted wild claims he had located the lost tomb of Queen Nefertiti, wife to the pharaoh Akhenaten and mother-in-law to King Tutankhamun. During Egypt's wealthiest period, Nefertiti ruled alongside her husband. Still, there is little evidence in the Egyptian historical record to indicate where Nefertiti may have been buried. Like the professor, she seems to have disappeared off the face of the planet. Regardless, Blunderbuss seemed hopeful when last seen departing on an expedition into the desert to find her. I have all the information I need to guide me, an associate recalls his last words. The professor and his guide, Shady Hakim, left base camp over a week ago and have not been heard from since. It's well known the desert holds many dangers: extreme heat and cold, poisonous scorpions and snakes, mirages, rain, sandstorms, as well as other treasure hunters. People with information on either man are asked to contact the Egyptian police or the American embassy. There is some disagreement among archaeologists whether Blunderbuss's claim has merit. Others argue it is a valid reason for kidnapping the professor. Lost treasure can be a powerful motive, says Professor's assistant Ulysses Xander. Of that I am certain. Regardless, everyone agrees that whomever unearths the tomb will enjoy fame and fortune to rival King Tut himself. It's a newspaper article. As you read it aloud to Scooter, his eyes grow wider with every word.
An archaeologist is missing?
He squawks, rattling the trip itinerary in front of your face.
From one of the places we're going to visit on this trip?
You nod. Professor Alastair Blunderbuss. It says he was looking for the tomb of Queen Nefertiti. Scooter shivers. Maybe there really are curses on all these old Egyptian tombs. You wrinkle your nose. Maybe. But maybe, just maybe, there's something more to the professor's disappearance than a legendary mummy's curse. You slide the article into your backpack. The tour your class is taking is going to the same area where the professor was last seen. Maybe you can see the pyramids and solve not one, but two mysteries at the same time: the disappearance of the professor and the lost location of Queen Nefertiti's tomb. I think that should put me close to 8.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, that's super fun. But there's one thing, because I'm curious and I know everybody else is too. So I'm going to share this one more time. I know it's a brand new book. There's numbers on the pages. Do we get to learn what those are if we read the book?
You might.
Okay, just checking. Cool. And when do you expect the book to come out?
This one comes out in April.
Okay, super exciting. So if you happen to win that book on the spinning wheel tonight, just understand it's going to be delayed in reaching to you because it doesn't come out until April. That's part of the fun of what we get to do here. You get first crack at reading books the minute they're published. So way cool. Thank you so much, Melinda. Thank you so much, Jacob. Jacob, can you hold up your cover one more time so we can look? There it is, Intimations of Death by Jacob Bullen. And this is The Mummy's Tomb by Melinda Falgo. So thank you so much, both of you, for reading. Okay, it's time to get into our murder mystery. Melinda, you're on a roll. Can you handle this for me?
I can.
Thank
The
you.
Seance at the Whitney. At the Ghost Bar inside the Whitney Manor, an historic Detroit estate, a world-famous psychic medium has come for an exclusive, invitation-only seance. With so many curious about spiritualism around the world, this event promises to connect the living and the spirit worlds, opening doors to mysteries that transcend time and space. But when a chilling seance spirals into a chilling rendezvous with a vengeful spirit and a shocking murder, it falls upon those in attendance to unravel the truths hidden in the darkest depths of the past. A spirit is summoned, vowing revenge on their killer. One of the guests becomes hysterical, claiming the spirit is there for them. Suddenly, the lights start flickering, and wind pushes the windows open, extinguishing the candles around the room. The room and everyone in it are thrust into darkness. When the light returns, that same hysterical guest is lying on the floor, dead. Who killed them? Why? Was it the furious spirit or something far more earthly?
Thank
Now
you,
can-
Melinda Falgo, for that wonderful recap. Well
Now
done.
can we have Scooter read it?
A seance at the Whitney.
Okay,
Ghost Bar.
maybe we'll get Scooter to read it tomorrow. All right, here we go. Your cast this evening. The medium, the great Christopher Gare. The assistant to Christopher is Donna Newman. The author, Amy Kelso. The socialite, Dawn Menge, is missing from the room tonight. The spouse of our dearly departed Richard is Jules Nelson. The fan of the great Christopher is Marianne Wieland. The aloof guest, Gary Floyd. The maitre d', Melinda Falgo, and I am your storyteller. As we do it this time every night, I invite everyone to turn on their microphones. And when you have questions, comments, or other silliness to add to the proceedings, please feel free to raise your hand, let me know, and I will call upon you. Christopher, you were absent last night. Do you have any opening remarks for us this evening?
No, I've been in deep meditation.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Who would like to begin the evening? Anybody? Go ahead, Marianne.
Harpy,
Yes?
Harpy, I understand you have my wedding ring. I was
I
told it was
do.
given to you.
It may have been given to me, but I no longer am in possession of said ring. I put it into the drawer where I keep my gun. And, well, as we know, someone has absconded my keys and helped themselves to the gun. Perhaps, if your ring is not in that drawer, it may have been taken along with the gun.
And the keys.
And the keys.
And the keys.
Well, then,
Okay.
Harpy, more important, take a note. I have an order to place. I would like for you to get me a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue and a glass and a wedge of brie with those little candied walnuts and perhaps a bowl of vichyssoise. Oh, and maybe a bowl of pretzels for the whole table.
that
Handle it.
just sounds
Handle
like
it, Harpy.
that sounds like indigestion waiting to happen. All
Handle it.
right.
I'll make a note to the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Harpy.
Wolf, go ahead.
Just to tie up loose ends, what did the initials in the ring that was found in the blood pool actually mean? I guess this is for Marianne.
Those are my initials, Maxine Ainsworth. My love from my darling husband, Rudolfo Pigmidgeon.
Thank you.
And I need it back. Look in the
Okay.
great one's bag. Look in his bag.
Yeah, but we're not going there. Okay, anybody else tonight have questions? Anybody? Come on, you guys. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Jules, do you have the wedding ring?
No, I do not have her wedding ring.
Okay. Anyone else?
I also don't have the gun. I put that back like 5 years ago, just to be clear on that one.
Just to be clear. Thank you for that.
Did you put the ring back with it?
The ring wasn't there 5 years ago. I have my own ring that doesn't mean anything. So why would I want two that mean nothing?
Symbolism is a great thing. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Mandy Joe.
Christopher, the great Christopher, what is your background? What is your background photo?
That was a picture of Jules shooting at her at the Nora at the well.
Got a photo of that? Was that taken from the estate's security camera?
It was.
That's what it looks like. It looks like security cam footage. Uh-oh. Jules.
But I could have been there throwing coins in there. You can't even see the gun from that picture, so there's no proof.
She was probably trying to save Nora.
Nora, she lies. She is lying.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else? Amy, is there anything in the chat?
No, we're just discussing not looking for the gun in the great one's bag.
Good. Let's not do that.
Let's not discuss that.
Yeah.
And Mackenzie did have a quote perhaps from Jules saying, just in case Richard doesn't die, I'll grab the gun again.
That'll quiet him.
You're so big on quieting people. That's awesome. I want to know, is there a silencer that goes with that gun, just in case?
Seems like
That
it
would
is
be
a silencer, so to speak.
All right. Anyone else? Marianne, go ahead.
This question is for you, Diana. Just because, is it just me or is she a little bit creepy? Is it just me that thinks
It's
that?
just you creepy. Oh, wait.
Wait,
Anyway.
you're calling me creepy?
Well, just a little bit. I just don't know if it's just me or if everybody thinks that. You were standing over the body, blood on your shoes, some blood spatter on your clothes. Do you have my ring?
I never touched your ring. Donna picked that up. It ended up rolling on the other side of the room because when she came out of the butler's pantry, she said that's when she stepped on it and discovered it. On the opposite side of the table where our dearly departed friend died. So, and I stepped in the pool of blood, not realizing that Richard was bleeding from the back of his head. And as soon as I noticed that there was blood on the floor, I moved away immediately. So I didn't want to get any closer to that. Yeah, I don't like dead things.
Well,
I
did you
don't
take
even
the
clean
necklace?
fish. I don't
Did
even
you
clean
take the
fish.
necklace?
No,
The
I didn't.
necklace, the ring, all these things that are missing?
No, actually, this is only my second
Mm.
time visiting the Whitney. The first time I came to the Whitney was when I got to do a meet and greet after a performance with Colm Wilkinson. That was the first time I've ever been in the Ghost Bar, was to see Colm. That was just, you know, an amazing experience. But this is the first time I've been back to the Whitney since.
Well, that is creepy.
Well, I would not call Colm Wilkinson creepy. Have you seen his performance of Les Mis? I would not call him creepy.
I have not seen it.
You should. Wolf, go ahead.
Again, just to tie up loose ends, Marianne, which
Yes.
were you wearing that ring on the ring finger of your left hand?
I have been. I took it off when I got here because my hands were swelling, as they do sometimes. And of course, the Great One was here, and I never wear a ring when the Great One is around.
Yeah, heaven forbid he should realize you're married. Boy, would that be a
Yes.
problem.
I
Where
might
did
get some Boone's Farm.
Where did you put the ring when you took it off?
I put it in my pocket, and somehow it ended up, on the second floor or something, where Donna was nosing around.
Over by the butler's pantry. That's where it was found. Jules Nelson, go ahead.
Marianne, did your ring happen to actually fly off when you threw the crystal ball at Richard? Because I mean, that would also like pull it off, I would think, wouldn't it?
I was not wearing it at the time, but I did not throw the crystal ball either. But I know who did. We all know who did.
All right. Mark McCraw, go ahead.
So, Marianne, did you find it in Christopher's bag? Was it Great Christopher's bag by chance?
I
The wedding
not
ring?
had it.
Yes, the wedding
No,
ring. Did you
no,
kind of snoop and
it's-
find it?
No, it's already been determined that when Donna discovered the ring, she gave it to our maitre d', and she put it in the drawer with the other lost and found items, as is proper protocol, she tells us, from the Whitney.
Right, but it did disappear though after that. So it's
Yes.
possible that she could have looked in the bag to see if Christopher had it.
Yeah, she's been looking in Christopher's bag all month long.
Yes,
Doesn't like
I
to use a
always
ring
look
when
in Christopher's bag full of balls.
he doesn't like to use a ring when handling his bag.
Well,
right. Jules, go ahead.
I have a question for my darling sister-in-law, Amy. Amy, wouldn't you say that the crystal ball that you found out by the well, wouldn't you say that would have been in Nora's possession when she had the argument with Richard?
It is quite possible, honestly. As I said, I found it. It was next to the well. It was kind of buried a little. I actually kicked it and kind of discovered it there. So I don't know how long it's been there. Could very well have been there 5 years. So it may have been.
Is that why you were so flustered when you found it? Was that you realized that probably the last place Nora had been was at the Whitney and not at the house in Birmingham like we thought?
Honestly, at that point, I had no idea because as far as I knew, she had just disappeared. I had no idea how that crystal ball got there. I just picked it up and brought it back in. So.
As we learned on the first night of our discussion, that crystal ball was usually kept in the shed adjacent to where the well is. So to find it on the ground outside is kind of an interesting idea. Perhaps, I mean, Nora, did you, when you were out walking around being your ghostly self, did you move the crystal ball by some wild force of, manipulation, move the crystal ball from the shed to the well?
I did not.
Okay.
Now I do have to say, kind of adding to that, I was surprised to find it there because I have been kind of looking for it since Nora's disappearance. Nobody knew where it was. And so to find it hidden there by the well, it's like, oh, okay, well, that was weird. But I didn't have any idea at the time about what had happened to Nora, so I didn't put those two together.
Right, because, your storytelling skills, leave a little to be desired.
I had no clue where Nora was. Why would I think the well? Ugh.
Okay. Wolf, go ahead.
I'm following a hunch here. Amy,
Yes.
you two were neighbors. Can you verify that the person in the ghost bar is actually Marianne?
I honestly can't. I have never seen Marianne before. She says she saw us. Now, granted, she was older than us, so maybe she was peeking out the window, wishing she was having fun with us younger kids. I don't know, but I'd never seen her before. So,
Does she at all look like Nora's sister?
I mean, she does have that little turned up nose, like she's better than everyone else of all of the Ainsworths. So I don't totally doubt it, but I don't know for sure.
People change a lot over time. So, when you get older, you tend to decay more. So it's quite possible that, Marianne doesn't look like she did when you were in school.
I think probably Nora decayed more than Marianne, though.
Well, at this point, I would probably agree with you.
You still could write better.
Mark McCraw, go ahead.
So, Melinda, since you didn't get that much in your paycheck, did you happen to take the ring home?
I live at the Whitney. Of course I didn't take it home. This is my home.
Did
I mean,
you
the ring may
did
still
you
be.
take it to your room away from your desk?
I did not.
Aha.
I followed proper Whitney protocol and placed it in the desk.
Melinda is a Navy veteran, and if anybody understands protocol, it would be Melinda. She's really good at that stuff. Mandy Jo, go ahead.
Amy, you said that you had been looking for the crystal ball, but didn't find it previously. And all of a sudden you find it at the well. How you never visited the well all this time?
I have been visiting the well, but it was kind of buried. The only reason I found it was under a lot of leaves and stuff that was piled up. The only reason I found it is I happened to kick something and I thought, what was that? And I looked and it was the crystal ball. So yeah, I've been looking, but not that
night.
hard.
So when you discovered it that night, before we started the seance, that's when you brought it in, right?
Yep, I brought it in. I was gonna put it
until that time, you didn't know where it was, correct?
Correct. I hadn't seen it since last time I saw Nora. So
right. Okay. Anyone else have anything? Gary, go ahead.
I have one for Amy. Is that what made you look by the old well if you didn't know that there was a crystal ball there? Was it just a hunch?
I wasn't looking for anything at the old well. I often would go there when I was feeling upset or when I needed inspiration. That's part of why I live in the Whitney, is because it is my place of inspiration. So when I need ideas for my stories, I go out for walks. And a lot of times I go to the well because that's where me and Richard and Nora used to hang out.
That's where it all started, right?
You can always dig something up.
Jules Nelson, go ahead.
Amy, are you sure you didn't go to the well because Richard told you that he never wanted to hear you talk about the well again? Because that's one of the phrases I did hear him yell at you quite clearly, that he never wanted to hear about the well again.
I honestly don't remember exactly what he said to me because I was very upset that he would even talk to me like that. And other than I understand he was already angry at his wife, must have been why he took it out of me. But I was so upset, I don't remember. I just went to the well as a place for comfort.
We say the word wife in very large quotation marks. All right. We have time for 2 more questions. Mark McCraw. Your hand was still up, Mark.
I just forgot.
Okay.
I forgot to put it down. Sorry.
All right. Anyone else have questions? Marianne, do you actually have a question, Marianne, or is this just another tirade?
I do have a question for the
Okay.
hired help.
Donna, that would be you.
Please. For Miss Donna. By some chance, when you received instructions prior to this seance, did you happen to come by the ghost bar ahead of everyone else and check the place out and the butler's pantry and everything around the room so that you had prior knowledge than anyone else who's never visited here?
Well,
The
not
only-
anyone else. There are other people who have visited here, but the question is, Donna, did you do a room check to look, for instance, for the light switches so you would know where they were? Did you come and do a room check and a setup?
I did come in and do a room check because I was supposed to I asked the maid for the water jug because the great Christopher needs a water jug. I went in, I went to set up, but everything had already been set up. So I usually would have done a walkthrough, but because everything was set up, I just kind of said, you know what, that gives me 5 minutes that I don't have to do something for the great Christopher, and I left. So my walkthrough was a quick, I saw everything was set up. I didn't set it up, and so then I left.
Awesome. Okay. One last question. Anybody else?
I have a statement, not a question.
Yes.
Everybody keeps laughing at me about me saying that the great Christopher has saved my life. But as I want to say once again, he has saved my life. He pulled me out of a really dark spot, and I don't know what I would have been like or where I would be or what I would be doing if he had not taken me upon him at that moment to say, hey, I see that you see the same thing I do, and let me be part of his group.
Okay. All right.
Team. That was it. I just want everybody laughs at me, and I want to make sure they know that they shouldn't be laughing at me because I am serious. You did save my life.
Okay. I'm just a little concerned. The great Christopher has been conspicuously quiet this evening. So, Christopher, do you have anything to add to this discussion before we close for the night?
I do. When Donna says that I had taken it upon her, it's not how it sounds. And when she says group, I am not into group things. I just want to make that very clear.
You're a solo act then? Is that what you're telling us?
My preference.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the end of another interrogation sessions. Tonight is the 26th. You know what that means, folks? We have the 27th. And then on the 28th, we are going to sling our accusations and start making some theories about who did what, when, why. So check the replays. Check to see if you've missed any small little details that might be important to solving this mystery, and be sure to come back with your notes. Wax dripping time. Here we go. This is just to let you know where it all is. These are posted on the website and the Facebook page daily. As you can see, Christopher, you're still up there at the top, 210. Amy at 209. Andrew Allen Smith and Deborah Reed are tied at 180. Jules Nelson at 177. And Marianne Whelan rounds out the top 5 in 160. Here are the point totals for everybody else. Take a look, see where you fit. You've still got a couple of more nights to get more people in and boost your ratings. Please understand, though, that the 28th is the last day that you can amass wax dripping points because Diana and math. So make sure that you do that. And then I'll give out the totals on the 29th, and we'll award those top 5 prize medals on the 29th, the night of the big reveal. So now it's Talismans from the Spirits. This is Spinning Wheel of Happiness time. We all love this part because, you know, books is why we do this. If you win a book on tonight's Spinning Wheel, send me your mailing address to diana@pagespromotions.com, and I will make sure that the author knows to send you your book. Tonight, I want to remind you that although Jacob's book will be sent out according to Hoyle, Melinda's book will be coming to you a little bit later because it is a brand new edition. So we have to wait for the whole publishing process stuff to happen before she can actually ship it out. Just cleaning up the wheel now to make sure that we are all in the room before I spin the thing. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share the wheel. Make sure my sound is turned down because, you know, sometimes the ghosts do things. Okay, here we go. So the first spinning wheel of happiness is going to be for Jacob's book, Intimations of Death. Ready? Here we go.
The Harpy one.
Melinda won a book. Fantabulous. Okay, and now we are going to give away Melinda's book, The Mummy's Tomb. Really fun book. Here we go. Yay, Rosemary, you won a book. Aren't you glad you came tonight? Yeah. I love it.
But I already won one. If you want to spin it again and let someone else have a chance.
Yeah, that's not how we play this game, everybody.
You win too.
If you
You
win,
get a
you
twofer.
win.
You get a two.
I'm excited.
That's
You
how
get-
that works.
It's a twofer deal.
Oh, good.
All right.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Okay. While we're talking about books and winning and reading and all the great things, remember, you can find all of the books that we've been talking about all month long on the Pages Promotions website. Just go to the tab that says Indie Author Yearbook. Check out the books. There's direct links there to how you can find all of the books. You can buy them. And then when you're done reading, please, please, please go back and leave reviews. Authors need your reviews. It doesn't have to be a long book report. All it has to be is I liked it, I enjoyed it, I didn't like it, it didn't work for me, whatever. Remember, the negative reviews are just as important to us as the positive reviews, because how we understand your perception of our work is how we get better. So be honest with your reviews. That's super important. On the website, you will find the witness statement. Please go in, take a few moments, tell us about your experience. Your feedback will help us to create next year's festival. And it'll also help me to understand if you guys really want to do this again next year. So make sure you go in and fill out that form for me so that I can understand what I got right, what I got wrong, and I can just continue to improve on it. Because like with my writing, this thing needs your feedback for me to make it better for everybody. So I would appreciate that. It only takes a couple minutes. It's not real long. Also, on February 29th, we're having the big reveal party and the extravagant hat contest. So make sure you come back. That's only a couple days away, folks. Come back, find out who did it, along with everybody else, finding out who did it, and wear your extravagant hat, and you might go home with additional prizes. So at this point, I want to hear from Shots Across the Bow, because we're really close from our cast, and you can start going in. Did I miss that? I did. I didn't post it tonight, but on the website, the accusation statement is on the website. So if you think you know who did it, and you want to send in your accusation now, go to the website, fill out that form. Take you super, super quick. It's real easy. Amy already did hers. She thinks she figured it out. But remember, I can only take one form from everybody. So make sure that you fill that out. Thank you, Amy, for putting that link in the chat. You're so super amazing. You can do that stuff so much faster than I can. But it'll be fun. And then the 29th, we're gonna see who comes closest. And your theory statement is really important, because if you get the primary motive right, and if there's a bunch of people who get the primary motive right, the winner is going to be who comes up with the most creative why statement. So think about that.
Mackenzie.
Go in and check it out. So we're going to go around the room and do shots across the bow. Amy, did Mackenzie put another meme in the chat today that I need to know about, or do I get it?
No, no
Okay.
memes today.
Okay. So we'll see, maybe show creative.
Busy trying not to cook or burn dinner, I guess.
Yeah, that's important. So we're going to do shots across the bow. Gary Floyd, go ahead.
I'm actually thinking of a new series about writing about when weathermen kill, but don't tell Amy, she'll steal my ideas.
When weathermen kill. Okay. Who's like, oh, Melinda, there you are on the middle of my screen. Shots across the bow, madam.
In answer to a question that was posed in my absence last night as I was dealing with staffing issues, yes, the Brazilian maid,
staffing issues?
the Brazilian maid does indeed know capoeira.
Uh-huh.
Very,
Okay.
very limber.
So glad you were able to verify that information for us. Jules Nelson, shots across the bow.
Well, I, for one, am going to be glad that we only have 3 more days in this room with all of these suspects, because after 29 days, a few of us need to take a shower. And I'm not going to name any names, but it definitely smells like corn chips in here.
Christopher Kerr, shots across the bow.
I'm jet lagged.
I
got nothing tonight. Sorry.
hear ya. I get it. Donna Newman, shots across the bow.
Not anything really. I mean, I think everybody did it. You guys conspired together and you all worked together to kill him. I mean, you all knew him,
Okay.
except for me.
We saved your life.
I'm the only person who didn't know him, so it could have been me.
Yeah, well, I didn't know him either. I'm just writing a story. You know, that's what I do. Okay, Marianne Whelan, shots across the bow.
I never got my Johnny Walker Blue or my dinner, Harvey.
Yeah, I don't. Does Johnny Walker Blue even
Wanted it
exist?
tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Walker Blue is about $250 a bottle.
Okay. Is that like Louis Trey cognac? Is that what that's like? Okay. And last but not least, the beautiful Amy Kelso.
Well, apparently there's people in the chat who think that I could be a ghostwriter. Just so you know, if I am going to be a writer, my name is going to be front and center because I am a great author. I wouldn't pretend to be somebody else. Now, other people may be ghostwriters for me. No. Anyway.
Awesome.
Never mind.
All our co-writers.
Well,
Yeah. Who's Amy?
Given Gary's status, I'm not convinced, Amy, that you're not a ghost.
Something to consider.
You'll have to ask Donna about that. She can tell.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for playing our game again tonight. We are so close to the end. So close. Remember to sling your accusations before 11 p.m. on the 28th, because I'm going to have to read through those and find out who got it right. So thank you again, everybody, for joining. I appreciate your participation. This has been a super fun month. I'm having a great time. I can't wait to see how it ends. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a good night.